Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching us from. This is We Do Recover from JTV. It's a show which looks at issues to do with mental health. My name is Bernard Mwangi. I'll be your host this afternoon. On my immediate left is a gentleman that is going to introduce himself and also look at where you came from, schooling, and all those things.
Okay, my name's Kelvin. Kelvin Hiuhu. I was born in Nairobi, Pumwani Hospital, year 93, 16th of July. Went to school at Catholic, it was a Catholic Montessori school in St. John. Then I later went to St. Austen's, went to Lavington. Then I did St. Mary's. Then, Homeboys,
Okay.
a bit of institutions.
Very many institutions.
Yeah.
So the wonderful thing that we're going to speak today about is mainly about entrepreneurship in early recovery.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about your early life in addiction.
Yeah.
So what's your position in the family? Are you the firstborn, thirdborn, lastborn?
I'm actually the second born in the family. Yeah.
So when did you first interact with your drugs of choice? I believe it's drugs of choice.
I think my earliest interaction with the the first drug I actually took was alcohol. This was actually at a home setting. It was during a Christmas party where there was alcohol left and wine in like wine glasses. Because after when a party, people have had quite enough to drink. They usually leave half glasses and stuff. So when I was picking up the glasses, I just put them all in one, and I was like, let me try this feeling that these people are feeling. So I just put them all into one bunch, and then I just took it down. I thought it was gonna be sweet, but then it wasn't really sweet. But then the feeling was kind of euphoric, and I really felt good. Yeah, and then I slept. I was the age of 11.
11.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you slept, did your mother know? Did your father know what was happening?
No, not really, because basically everybody was intoxicated. Most of the people were actually intoxicated. So after that, I just slept because I was supposed to be sleeping either way. After picking up all the glasses, I was supposed to be in bed.
Right.
And we used to have sleepovers at my grandma's place. That's where the Christmas parties usually used to go down. So yeah, I just crashed. Used to crash like a lot of my cousins, like in the living room or either in one of the bedrooms, share beds. One sleeps like on the beds or the head side. One sleeps on the other side. Basically it was just like a cousin bonding thing. But it was actually fun. So when I slept, no one actually knew about it. And actually even the next day, I wasn't feeling even anything about it. Like I was just telling my brother, like, I drank that Tusker, and that wine, it was sweet, the one in the box and stuff like that. So yeah, that was just about it at that time of when I was 11. Yeah.
So you've mentioned something about your family. Your family actually, nearly all of them drink, or were drinking at that particular time.
Yeah, were drinking at that particular time. I can say that part of my family drinks. Like most of the part of the family actually drinks at Christmas parties or at any event, except for some of my aunties, and my grandma of course doesn't drink, and my grandfather doesn't drink. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so does my mom, and my aunt Jane doesn't drink.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was your first instance. So how did your addiction progress throughout school?
I think it progressed by the age of 16. I always had interest in music, so by the age of 16, I actually wanted to explore more of not doing music in my room, because I actually had a setup. I bought a computer, I bought a microphone, like it wasn't like a C3 or a C1 microphone from Behringer, but it was at least a microphone which could record vocals. I had a software called Audacity, which was just recording vocals. So I'd actually do beats on the side, actually get beats from my friends or download beats, and record myself, record some of my cousins, all step cousins. I remember all my friends, like on Saturdays after school and everything, and just experimental. Yeah.
So the music genre was mainly
Yeah,
hip hop?
yeah. So yeah, the music genre was mainly hip hop. So yeah, in that environment, obviously, I wanted to get out more, like into a commercial studio, basically. So my first instances were recording with Underdog Productions. That's when I came into contact with a lot of things like okay, the music industry was hype for me. I was actually starstruck to meet some of the best producers, to meet one of the best, biggest artists. The guys like okay, anonymity be remains, should it?
Yes, you should.
Yeah, so yeah, good artists, good rappers, basically that I looked up to, wanted to be like them or actually be better than them. So they actually indulged in a lot of things. There was a lot of cannabis smoking, be it indica or sativa. There was a lot of smoke in the studio. Those drinks, and I thought that that was life, and I started experimenting then in the studio. Then I became more involved in like the music. I started doing events in school, like I had high equipment from step cousin of mine called Johnny. They have a sound system and everything. So I'd hire the equipment and set up shows. Then I'd go to Caliph Records and get artists and like print out like tickets and charge and send letters out to schools. So we'd call them like funkies, you know. But
Which school is this?
this time it was in Lavington. High. That's when because Lavington had a big social hall, so that's why I'd actually do events. Yeah, because the hall was bigger than most of the halls I've seen. So yeah, I'd talk to the principal. Like it'd be like a venue of hired, but I'd put the flyers out for like drug awareness and everything. Because I actually knew drug was a vice, so I was actually like doing the gigs, not trying to make people do drugs, but come sober, do your thing, just enjoy the artist. So it get guys like Jimwat, Akina Major, size 8 at that time. That time I was just like at the age of 16, but I'd actually have a whole event organized and everything. So guys would come in and just do the events and everything. So after that, I'd go celebrate. Was when we were taking the equipment back, and my DJ cousin was actually older. Ronnie was actually older. So I think when I had my real first drink, and I smoked the biggest joint, like my first biggest joint at the age of 16. I remember it was like 8th of August. I don't really, I can't forget.
So that was a school holiday, basically.
Yeah, it was a holiday basically. So the gig was just after a week after closing school. So I made money out of the gig because I never expected people to come in masses like they did, but actually people appeared in masses because it was actually Meza, and that time Meza and Matrats had their duo track out there. So yeah, it was big. Kulijana kuliendaje, it was really big out there. So bringing Meza, it brought a lot of people into the school, bringing mad tracks. So the event was big. Tickets were sold out. We even had to use stamps now to bring people in. Now we take anything like even 50 bob, everything, because you can't lock people out of the event, and they really want to see these guys that they've been seeing on TV.
Yeah.
So we made money. So after that, we're taking the equipment home after closing the event. So guys were like, why not? You guys, you have money, see, probably buy us a drink or something. So being the people pleaser that I was, actually bought alcohol. I remember it was a bottle of gin called KK. And I drank my first quarter that time. And I did 2 quarters. And I felt a feeling of euphoria that I've never felt before. And it just took over, and I was feeling good. Then I smoked a big joint, and I smoked a cigarette too, and it was just something different. So I enjoyed that moment at that time. But that day I slept really early because I was still in my uniform, so I was dashing home.
You're in school uniform.
I was in school uniform because
And the people allowed to sell to you.
Because no,
When
I
you're
actually
dressed in
sent
school clothes.
I actually sent somebody. But you know, the where we were taking back the equipment was actually a place in Kawangware. So them, they don't really care. We just go to the shops and just say like, yo, I've been sent by my dad or by my uncle. So for them, it's just basically business. So yeah, that's where we bought the first drinks. And
Yeah.
I remember quarters were really cheap at the time. They were going for like 90 shillings and stuff. So, and from the event, I'd made more than 60,000 after paying the artist and paying for the equipment and everything. And 60,000 at that time, and that's like the year of 2007, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, 60K, and I was a kid, and yeah. So I bought alcohol. It wasn't even worth like 1,000 or two. Yeah, but it was enough alcohol to get everybody drunk. So, but me, I took two quarters and everything. So, that's when I had the first real experience with the major experience. Like actually felt the euphoria of alcohol, the weed, cigarettes. Not, I didn't enjoy it that much because I was actually coughing a lot. Then yeah, I slept early. Then the next day I woke up feeling real bad. My head was aching, my tummy. I couldn't stomach tea, and I remember that time I was staying with my grandma. So yeah, my grandma always like, yo, you have to take tea in the morning because she's, you know how grandmas are. So I had to take tea, but then after taking the tea, it had to come out. So like after taking the tea, I just dashed into the bathroom and like threw up. I was feeling sick for like a couple of hours until I called my my DJ cousin Ronnie. I was like, yo, you gay? What's up? Hey man, I'm feeling sick. He was like, that's called a hangover. I was like, this is how a hangover feels. Hey man, I don't like how it feels. So how can I get away with not feeling this hangover? So he told me like, yo, where are you? I'm like, yeah, I'm at Shosha's place. So can you pull up? So I pulled up. So there was still a party going on after that. So because he being a DJ, he always like had parties going on and on.
In his house.
Yeah, in his house. Actually, that's like a normal thing for them. The environment they came up in and everything, because it's a family full of entertainment. Dad's DJ, mom's entertainer, sister's DJ, and everything. So that was actually like a lifestyle for them. Yeah. So I pulled up with one of my friends. So the hangover definitely disappeared after drinking another KK and everything. But after that, I slowed down on the alcohol because of the scent, and plus I noticed that I couldn't function normally when I'm on alcohol, because I'd either get too hyper or get overrated over things and not do business or conduct my things well. I wouldn't go to the studio because I've always had a passion for music since I was a little kid, writing and stuff like that. So I wouldn't do most of that stuff. So I stopped with alcohol. Then I got to marijuana, because now marijuana, at least you can just get stoned, listen to Bob Marley and feel like Bob Marley, and feel like you can write better, being in the state of euphoria with the marijuana, the THC in your system and everything. So
at this time you're still 17, 18 years old.
Yeah. So I progressed with marijuana for a while, form 3, then form 4. After going for a couple of funkies and everything, and interacting with different people from different schools, and which drinking was like a normal thing now at funkies. It was actually a cool thing if you sneak in alcohol or even buy people alcohol. And I think I still had that people pleasing thing going on. So whenever I had extra money, I wouldn't mind buying like a friend or a person I've just met, like, yo, you want a bottle? How much is it? 90 bucks. We just buy it and share it and stuff like that. So I started sneaking alcohol into school, not actually sneaking it, but actually sneaking it in my system, because there was just a vendor just near on the way to school, not actually near my school, but on the way to school, and there was this brand of alcohol which had just come out, name being Masai. It was called Masai. It had a Masai like standing with one leg and stuff like that, and it was actually packaged in a plastic bottle. So at that time, it was going for like say 50 shillings. So instead of buying that KK usually bought for 90, I was like, hey, if I just add a 10 bob, I can actually get two of these. So I'd carry one for my friend, because you know misery
And
loves
drink the other
company. Yeah, I drink the other one in the morning, obviously, because actually I used to work out a lot that time, so I think my tolerance was like on the higher side. Uh, it's always been on the higher side in my active addiction. So I drink a whole 250 ml of that Masai, and have a bit of a joint, then go to school. Yeah, so I used to go to school really early because I've always been waking up early. I don't know why, since like I was a little kid. So I'd reach school. So by the time class is starting, like at 8, at least I'm a bit sobered up, but I'm a bit hangover. So the morning classes were usually like either a double maths lesson or double chemistry, which weren't some of my favorite subjects. So I'd have an excuse to sleep, like and that, like, oh, I'm having a headache, I just sleep in class. But actually, it was nursing the calm down of the alcohol until like 10. Now it's break time. You can go out, have something to eat. Then my eyes would just look like really bad the whole day and everything. So it wasn't really an alert to the teachers unless they really smelt the alcohol, because they got used to my eyes being like that throughout the last year, like the last term of Form 3 into the first term of Form 4 and stuff like that. So I think that's when it really started progressing, but I was just doing it experimentally. I didn't think it was like a problem or stuff like that until like I finished school.
So
Then
did you pass or?
I passed. I passed the exams luckily. With the grace of God. I I don't know how I did, but I just did, because yeah, that was just God's favor. But I failed in mathematics and chemistry.
Thoroughly.
Because I was never really in class. So actually, I'd call the math lesson because my math teacher, oh my God, wherever she is, God bless her, because she's like, if you don't want to stay in my class, you can just walk out and go play in the field. So like, and I had a crew of people who'd actually follow me to the field. I'm like, yo, you guys want to go out for PE double lesson? So we just actually walk out, because she was a nice teacher. Because if you're not committed to it, she just tell you like, go. You know,
do not disturb them.
because you're just gonna be making noise or passing notes in class, trying to distract the others and everything. So you just walk out of class, go to the field, and do your thing. Go smoke weed, but not drink as much in school. But a joint, somebody always had a joint in the socks and stuff like that. So it progressed everything. So when I got out of school and got into music more, commercially, like working with different studios and everything, likes of Sub-Sahara, working in Arusha, MJ Radio, meeting different kind of artists, which I thought that the inspiration to actually doing music was getting high.
So the higher you are, the more
Yeah,
creative you are.
yeah. It's like that. The higher you are, the cooler you. We used to say it like the higher you are, the cooler you become. But it wasn't cool at all, because at some point I'd actually realized how miserable these guys were. Like when it got to the height of things, because these guys would actually come to. I saw this a lot in Arusha. Guys coming to just before the show, they just drink themselves out, smoke a lot of weed. The performance wasn't as electrifying as I'd think about it being, because most of these guys are actually artists I look up to. Anonymity still remains, so I won't mention names, but
So these are the big names that are still.
yeah, these are the big names in Tanzanian music industry. Guys like I used to look up to, like so I thought that, oh, these guys actually make their music like this. So like, okay, probably getting high. That time I'm just trying to fit in. You're trying to identify with yourself who you really are and who you're not.
And you're in a foreign country.
And you're in a foreign country, so you go to the Romans, you probably do what the Romans do just to fit in. So yeah, progressively, yeah, Konyagis was the thing in TZ. Yeah, there's a lot of marijuana in TZ. Sorry,
Banana wine and the rest.
Yeah. So yeah, it was actually like everywhere. You didn't even have to buy these things, because guys would just say, yeah, umetoka Kenya, wewe Mkenya sio? Oh, you just like, yo, a full cognac is brought on the table and stuff like that. So yeah, it progressed. And it's funny with alcoholism or drugs, because you never know when the years are passing by. So you end up doing projects, sometimes leaving half projects in the studio, sometimes full projects, mastered projects, because I've done a lot of music and left them in the studio, not actually uploading them in YouTube channels like SoundCloud, and which I always had the opportunity to, but the thought of procrastinating, like, let me go have a drink, then I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow. So
if you estimate now, how many projects have you done, or have you done that are not been commercially viable because you've not done one, two, three things?
I've done like two mixtapes. I've done an album which was I've never released actually. I lost my hard disk in Active Addiction, so it had most of my content, my mixtape and everything, and which were really nice songs. They were really dope songs, as to say, compared to the music that is out here right now. I'd say, yeah, it was good music. It is good music because it's out there somewhere, but it's still in me. So yeah, it's really bad because I lost I'd say more than 40 tracks, which were actually collabos with one of the big people I used to look up to, big persons like in the music industry, both Kenya and outside TZ and everything. Yeah. So yeah, I lost a lot of projects due to Active Addiction.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So if you can quantify that, how much in Kenya shillings?
Okay, now if you come to look at it, like, you don't actually know when you're spending or even paying for a studio session, because you save up like for a session. I'd get some sessions free and actually get good sessions, but if I quantify that in terms of money, it probably be more than half a million probably in recording. Because if you estimate like I'd say like 40 tracks, okay, for the commercial album, I used to do a track for like 10,000, like to pay a producer or actually make my own beat and actually go record.
For him to master,
because I wasn't really good at mastering. I do a bit of mixing, but my mixing wasn't like as good as these commercial producers were doing it. So yeah, it was a lot of money compared. Because that time I wasn't actually fully employed. I was hustling to pay for my studio, and yeah, it's a lot of money, come to think about it, and plus the money spent in alcohol and everything.
So if you think about it, it's way more than 2
million actually it's more than 2 million shillings, but it's not even about the money part as much as how much content I lost, because that content, some of it I can never get it back, because I was too high to even remember a lot of the things that I did, a lot of the choruses that I wrote, a lot of the rap verses that I wrote. I lost a lot of my rap books, my lyric books. I just leave them somewhere. Some freestyles, because I'm really good at freestyles. I used to just freestyle on some beats and everything, and record them, leave them to be mixed and mastered and everything, pick up the project, then end up losing the project over and over again. And it's sick, because it's just a sick cycle, because you keep doing the same thing and spiraling back to the same thing, the same pitfalls and everything, but you don't actually realize it, that you have a problem, because you are gifted with this, and I think with freedom and with talent comes a lot of responsibilities, and which I wasn't taking responsibilities for. Yeah, because I let alcohol take the best part of me. I let the drugs take the best part of me, because I wanted to be in the hype, fit in, people please and everything, do this. Even some drugs I didn't actually enjoy doing, but I was actually doing them just to
make people happy.
Yeah, make people happy. Yeah.
So how did you end up in Kenya? Oh, by the way, before you answer that, how many years did you lose in Tanzania?
In and out of TZ, probably months in, months out, weeks in, weeks out. So in and out of TZ, probably session like 2 years. Sometimes working for MZ. Okay, that's Mambo Jambo Radio. That's one of my aunt's radio stations there, which is really supportive of. She's been really supportive of my music, and because actually my aunts have been really supportive. My mom, my aunt Jane, my aunt Anna, my mom. Yeah, because they organize everything, like if it's transport, if it's the passports for me to get there, if it's the accommodation and everything, and it always was because of my drive for music, and they'd see the drive in me for music, because I love music and I love making music from scratch, like from the beat to making the song to actually having it mixed and mastered and actually shooting the video and actually pushing it. And that's why I actually was failing with the pushing part. You're like, ah man, I'm just too high to just go to like get to radio. I'm too high to go to Kiss. I don't think even Shafi can play my song. I can't go to Homeboys, man. I'm just
because I'm over the too high.
Yeah, exactly. But the music is good because it's good because the responses I used to get, and actually not even the responses. I believe that my music spoke for itself. I didn't even have to tell people like, yo, this is my jam. Like, hey, who's this? And like, yo, that's my song. Then when you're supposed to meet up with a guy later, okay, where's the master? I thought you were gonna come with the master. Like, yo, I lost the song, but I think I can call DX. He's all the way in Arusha. He can send me an email again. Then you'd call DX. Then DX will be like, yo, I just sent you the song like 3 days ago. You can't even remember the password to my email. You know, that's how messed up it would be. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you became permanently back in Nairobi,
Yeah.
so how did the life progress from there?
When I came back, I came back with another concept. Basically, I think I knew I had a problem, and I think I started noticing I have a problem with alcohol when I was in Arusha, because I wouldn't drink normally, you know, because I drink more than other people are drinking. Because even at times I'd have drinks in like the main table we're drinking with some of the people we were with, but I'd actually go out just to get another drink, just to come and hype up the drinks that are already on the table, you know, because I wasn't drinking at the same pace as these other guys. I'm like, these kids are just taking it slow, so I just go out, like either probably go do weed or do something else, then come back and just like heighten that hype, like, yo, now I'm feeling good. Now it's just with the beers and stuff like that, because beers weren't really my thing. I loved hard liquor. I loved my whiskey. I loved my vodka. Stuff like that. Yeah.
So back in Kenya. So
So
new concept.
New concept. Car branding. That's when came up with the idea for car wraps, which is basically things that are going on right now when politicians brand their cars, like when Mike Sonko.
The gold foil on
Yeah. So guys was like, hey, Mike Sonko had gold, 24 karat gold. Oh man, the car is made of gold. That was actually wraps, and I think were the earliest, me, Ken, Maxwell Munue, one of the earliest people to actually start doing car wraps in Kenya, because nobody else was doing car wraps, and we did it for a while. We started out with cars. Okay, there's Ken had a Toyota 110, which we branded ourselves. So it was actually selling the whole concept for us. We'd go to places like USIU, places like St. Paul, and we'd get customers there. Because that time we weren't really focusing on the platform of social media, because Instagram and Facebook wasn't really a big thing that time. It was just about making friends or making dates, going out for lunch with people and everything. People didn't see it as a platform to actually sell ideas for. But right now I think people realize the impact that social media has, and they use it as a business platform, which is a good thing that people realize that. But at that time, car branding was still new, and I think it's still a new thing, because people don't actually.
I think after Mike Sonko, nobody else is doing it.
Because people just brand their cars for politics, then they write all these logos for political parties. Then after that, they just take the wraps off and resell the cars. Good thing about car wrapping is that, especially what we're doing with 3M car wraps. The density of the paper, the quality of it, we just put a wrap which would last for like even 5 years. That means even when the car is parked under the sun, it doesn't fade. You know.
So even when you remove the
you can actually it's good for the resale for the car, because the paint job actually remains in the same state that you bought the car. So if you buy a car and actually wrap it, and you want to resell it some couple of years later, you just take out the wrap. The car is still in the same state that it was. So did that for a while. Okay, back to TZ again. Did a couple of cars for MZ. some other ones for equity and everything. So yeah, I'd say money was coming in, but yeah, the drinking again in TZ. Arusha is a good town, especially if you are an alcoholic. But it's a beautiful city to see.
It is very, very beautiful.
Yeah. Mount Meru, there's
In the
places
background
like
there.
Triple A, Kizenge. Yeah, there's a lot of nature and everything. But we just basically focused, like, after doing work, let's go get a Jack Daniels, let's go get a Johnny Walker, because
now you have the money.
yeah, and plus liquor there was affordable, and plus one of us was actually handling the money at the time, and had no problem like with us drinking and everything. So when we're coming back to Nairobi, most of the times we'd end up coming, with literally like not as much as you earn. You'd expect yourself to have all this money, but you spend, because we'd overstay our stay. After doing the work, we'd do the work for like 2 days or stuff, then come back to Kenya. Before you come back to Kenya, you stay for like another 4 days or stuff. So in those 4 days, you're actually drinking, doing stuff, spending money around other things, the usual things that people like, women, weed, weather, which is not actually a good thing. It's actually viceful, especially in a drunk environment, in your addictive state of mind. Yeah.
Yeah. So moving on swiftly to how did the conversation that you needed to land in rehab begin?
Oh yeah. This came out. Yeah, this year. I remember it was March 14th. Okay, my alcoholism progressed really bad last year, 2020, because after a few issues that I had been through, issues with society, issues with my self-esteem, issues with accepting myself, issues with my dad, like having daddy issues, like where's my dad, not being there and stuff like that, because I always had and carried that resentment, But
and also I remember you sharing with me some time back that you got nearly killed a few times.
Oh yeah, that happened in active addiction. Oh my God, God has been merciful, cause before I used to tell my aunt like, it was for the grace of the Lord. It's like, that's the mercies, because I couldn't tell the difference between grace and mercy. It's not like I couldn't define it through the dictionary or anything, but understanding it, internalizing it, it wasn't coming to me until I got into an accident where the car rolled and everything, and not even my mom knew about it, not even my family as such, but I got out of it. And I remember when the car rolled and everything, coming out of the car, me and my friend, the first thing we were asking for is like, oh, hiyo chupa imevunjika, hiyo chupa ya Kenya imevunjika. KC was a brand we used to like, love. We used to adore the alcohol. That's an addiction. Like, you actually in a serious condition, you're actually bleeding out and things like that. The car is damaged and everything, but the first thing you look for is actually a bottle of alcohol. Then a second instance, like 2 months later, coming from Electric Avenue. For those who know Electric Avenue at Westland, the last club that hit was Molly's. Got into the car. I remember it was a Mitsubishi Evolution 4 KAV. The other details anonymous, but it was a very nice fast car, and the Evolutions were a thing that right then. Me and my friend were driving, just there near Kasuku Center. There was a car just coming behind us. So yeah, it was a G touring. I remember we're trying. It's like we're trying to race. We're heading towards this side of Methodist. We're trying to get to Waleke to get some pizza.
Yeah.
So this guy was actually he overtook us. So when we were trying to overtake him, he came to the side that we're supposed to overtake him from. So he was like swifting lanes and everything. So we tried to overtake him from the left side, which you shouldn't. So from that side that we were trying to overtake from, because I wasn't the one driving, my friend was driving, and he was really intoxicated, I remember. And I was telling him, just let me drive, but he kept insisting. And since it was his car, I was like, okay, fine, you drive. I don't want to argue about it, just drive. He overtook from the left side. We hit one of the pavements over there. Then the car toppled. It was so nostalgic, because I'm like, oh my God, I just came from this 2 months ago. Then this is happening again. So the car toppled, ended up in the ditch again. So, but coming out again scratch free, just a few bruises. I remember there were 2 girls in the car. I remember I failed to mention that we had 2 girls coming from Electric Avenue. They were nice girls. They weren't actually drinking. That's why I think we're even going to get pizza, because them, they were like, oh, us, we're not drinking, but if it's food, you can eat. So like, yeah, we're not tribal like it. And plus, it was late at night, and if you wanna really drive your Evolution, or for those
If you really want to speed.
those
underground
like
cars.
there are Subarus and the Evolutions. That's when you feel the whole thrill, because there's no traffic, there are no cars. So swerving lanes, boop, thing happened. The girls came out of the car running. Yeah, I've never seen them again. Actually, don't even remember their names, which is a really bad thing, because meeting somebody and having a conversation for more than 6 hours with them and not remembering their name is actually a really bad thing. So that's how bad active addiction was or is. So
that led to the conversation.
Yeah. So no, after that, last year my drinking progressed. Okay, this was early last year. This was stuff that actually my family didn't know about, because I didn't want to scare them, being this and out of those accidents, or fail to say that, oh, this second time I had the accident, my grandfather had lost his brother, and the next day was actually his funeral, and we just had an accident. So I wasn't even in that state, like, hey, should I call my mom and tell her about it? Because I was in shock. And I think I've never dealt with a lot with these shocks, like, because I was always numbing it with alcohol or some other drugs, procrastinating the pain and everything, not letting myself feel it or actually be in the moment and realize the effects of my action and the impact that it can cause on my life. So, yeah, I went for the funeral the next day, hungover. My hand was hurting real bad, and I hadn't slept and everything. And of course, everybody noticed that I was looking some type of way in the funeral, but I had to keep my shades on and everything, and keep like a social distance. So me, I started practicing that social distance thing even before COVID. So I was like, yeah, I'll just keep my distance, because I don't want people to smell the wreck there, because I was drinking of alcohol. It was just all over, man. So yeah, went for the funeral and everything. Then after that, I got to thinking and everything. So, but last year, that's when my drinking really progressed. From that time of COVID, because I wasn't doing car raps anymore. I wasn't making beats anymore. I wasn't hitting the studio anymore. I just
weren't selling your watches.
Yeah, I wasn't selling watches at that time, because okay, you are an active drinker. Every time you're meeting a client and you're trying to sell watches, which is, I love watches. I've always loved watches, and making watches, like even fixing watches. I've always had a passion for watches, the same passion I've always had for music and everything. So that time I wasn't actually selling watches, because I'd get money to like even buy a watch and resell it, and then actually end up drinking it, most of the times, or even failed some of my clients when they send me money in advance. I'd actually like end up not buying the watches or reinvesting in the watches and everything, and fail to deliver the watches and end up drinking and just put my phone off, or actually lose my phone. And actually, if I tell people that I lost my phone, people wouldn't believe, because you're drunk. Nobody believes you're drunk and you've lost your phone. And clearly you're drunk. You either sold your phone to drink or something like that, because you're actually a junkie. You're a fiend for this alcohol. So it progressed last year, because I fell into depression after previous relationships and everything. Me always having trust issues, because I only trust a few people. I trust God. I've always trusted God. Yeah, but at that time I wasn't even trusting God, because I was like, yeah, God, why are you making me go through this? Like, I was shifting the blame to God.
How can you allow all this?
Yeah, because I'm like, I'm drinking, but then I'm like, God, this hangover is because you're not taking care of me. It's because of you that I'm drinking. So I was shifting blames and not actually taking responsibility for my own mistakes. So I fell into a depression, and the only way I was numbing the depression was through alcohol, because when I'm drinking, I'm always jovial. I'm like telling stories, funny guy around. I'm creative. I'm dropping freestyles, everything. I was always the entertainer. It used to happen a lot. So I was going through a lot, but I'd actually mask it with the alcohol. I'd mask it with the laughs. I'd mask it with my rap songs. I'd mask it with my, yo, we'll do a video, we'll do this, stuff like that. But I was actually falling deeper into depression. Then I kept away from my family. I didn't keep contact with my grandparents, my mom, my aunts, my closest people, basically, because me and my dad basically have never had that like relationship, like, yo, I have to call you, like, yo, we're tight, checking up on me and stuff like that. It's like, yo, yeah, it's always been me, my mom, my aunt, my grandparents, because they've always been there for me, and some of my uncles, who've been really supportive to me, and always had my back, like even called to check up on me. Even when I changed my numbers, they'd actually find a way to get my new number and just call me, like, yo, have you eaten? Where are you? Do you have a change of clothes? You need to come and talk. There's this party going on. Just come for this family reunion, stuff like that. At that time, I just kept myself off everything. So I just surround myself with the people that would actually appreciate or encourage my drinking. So I fell into a pitfall. Like, I remember living with like 5 people in the house, some of which I didn't even know their names. That time I've come from a comfortable house, like where I'd get food and everything, from being fully self-supporting. Like I had my own house, I'd pay my rent, and feed myself and everything. But the addictive thinking always came into play, because even when you're good and you're making even a bit of money, you felt like it's not enough, so you just find a way to actually be an extortionist or something, or even play a scam to just get that extra money for you to use, drink, do something like get a bit of cocaine, which cocaine is really expensive. Like even, it was just a sick cycle. So that time I kept off my family. There's a time I never contacted my family for a couple of months, and the only person I was talking to was actually my mom. And I'd call her with different numbers, because I'd end up losing my phones. I'd never sell my phone, but I'd end up losing phones every time I have a blackout, because it got to that point I'm drinking too much, but I can't sleep. Insomnia was just hitting me, so I got into depression. I wasn't sleeping and everything. So it progressed. So last year on Christmas, I felt like there was gonna be an intervention. So what I did is, after we had the lunch with my family, this was at my grandma's place. I actually stepped out, and I was supposed to get back, but I didn't come back. So I went to a friend's house. So there I just drank and drank and drank and drank. So from 26th of last year, I kept off contact with my family again, after after not contacting my family for 6 months of last year. I show up for a day, then disappear. So this was until 14th of March this year. That's when things hit the fan. I knew I had a problem, and I started throwing up blood. I wasn't eating. My skin had just changed. My skin tone, it's like I had scales on my face. My skin was peeling everywhere. My skin tone, everything had changed about me. I had lost weight. I was like 50 something kgs from being like a decent weight that people are used to. I remember even sometime I went to get some weed from my dealer, and my dealer was like, "Hey, Kelvin, wachana na pombe." I was like, this is a drug dealer who's telling me that. I was like, yo, wachana na tea, I'm not even selling you weed. You need to get yourself in check. That's when reality started hitting me. But on 14th of March this year, I threw up blood. I remember, I can never forget that, because I had a bucket next to me. Because I was really sick. I wouldn't even go to the bathroom to actually throw up in the toilet sink or something like that.
So there was no energy to go to.
Yeah, there was no energy. I wasn't eating. I wasn't taking anything at all. The only thing I could take in my system was actually alcohol. That time I'd actually even stopped smoking weed, because I couldn't handle weed anymore. It's like I was on the verge of insanity. So I was
hallucinating a lot.
Yeah, I was hallucinating, because I wasn't even sleeping. I was seeing things, and it had become a new normal, because I was seeing things. So I always thought that most of the things I'm seeing, I was actually part of my hallucinations. And I wasn't talking about my hallucinations because I didn't want it to sound alarming to people, like even the people that I was drinking in. Because the people I was drinking with were actually alcoholics. But they see that I have a problem because they're like, hey, you gay, what's up with your skin? Hey, what's up with you? Hey, why is your skin peeling like that? Hey, why you gay, you're not eating? Because even on meals, kuja, even once in a while, I just like take a bite. I'm like, me, I'm okay. Hey, where's the drink? I just continue drinking because it got to that point. Like I was subconsciously wanting to take my life away. Because I remember, like before that 14th, I'd seen a slogan somewhere when I was on the road. Ati kama raha inaua basi sumu ni ya nini. So that thing subconsciously stayed in my head. I'm like, so you can actually have fun till you die. So I just progressed with my drinking. So on 14th of March this year, I threw up a lot of blood. I remember it was half a bucket. And I remember calling one of my cousins and asking them, hey, you gay? I'm throwing up a lot of blood. Akacheka akaniambia unajua ni nini? Hiyo ni maini. Umetema maini. Fanya hivi, tafuta hiyo bucket uende nayo usiambie udokia kurudishia maini kwa system. He was actually joking about it, but he knew how serious it was. He actually, after that, he made a laugh. Then he's like, yo, stop drinking. Aliniambia tu wewe sasa kukunywa. Hata kama ni siku kadhaa achana na pombe. I was like, umseta ajikinyo anasema. So that evening, after throwing up, I called my mom. I'm like, yo, mom, hey, me, I'm throwing up a lot of blood. And my mom was like, hey, me, I told my mom everything. Hey, I've been drinking, I've not been eating and everything. So even my mom sent me money like to get some food. And actually got food. I think I just got food worth like, I think half of the money. The rest I just, when I was feeling better, I just go back to drinking. So yeah, the drinking progressed. On 15th again, I started throwing up blood again. So I called my mom again. Then my mom was like, oh, so yesterday did you get checked up? So you're supposed to eat, then you're supposed to get checked up and everything. So I told my mom, mimi nilikunywa. Niendelea kunywa and everything. So my mom was like, hey, I think you need help. So on 16th, I woke up feeling weak. I couldn't move from the bed. Literally, like I was calling out like, hey, somebody just get me some water or soda or something, because I was just trying to call, hey, nani wanapita, because I'm outside
your house.
Yeah, I'm just in the house, man. It was just some other trap house, somewhere.
For those who don't understand, a trap house is a very nasty house in the middle of drug using zone.
I was just lying in the bed. I'm like, hey, see somebody, nani wanapita, see, wewe niletee maji mazee. Well, like people are just passing there laughing, but there's one person came to check up on me. I remember his name was Salim. He actually came and was like, hey, nini, baba. Because Salim is like in his 50s, I think, but he was a friend of mine because I used to help him use his M-Pesa, especially after introduced him to Fuliza. He became a friend of mine. So it's like, hey, kitu unafanya baka pesa inatoka kwa simu ni simu ina pesa.
You introduced him to that.
Exactly. Because also he was an alcoholic, but him was, I think, a functional alcoholic, because he has a lot of kids and he actually supports them. So he actually came to check up on me. So he brought me food, brought me water. I couldn't eat though. I drank the water. Then I needed sugar. I just told him to get me a soda and everything. Then that time, I remember after getting some energy, I just prayed, because I felt like my soul was leaving my body. I just prayed. I'm like, God, at this point, just do whatever you need to do with my life, because I know I wasn't built for this purpose. And I'm sorry for blaming you for all these things, because clearly I brought this upon myself. Because why would I come from a comfortable house where I get food, I get shelter, I get love, I get a lot of things, emotional support and everything. But the fact that alcohol and the drugs made me see my family as a vice, actually appreciating the vice as the love. No, actually the alcohol and the alcoholic family was actually my friends. No, this was the family that my addictive mind wanted me to be around, and not the other family that actually was giving me things that are required: food, shelter, clothing, love. Yeah, so I prayed to God. I surrendered. I was like, God, do with me as you will, because at this point I think I'm dying. Just forgive me of my sins and just do as you please. So the next day, 17th, I wake up. I'm feeling good. Nimepona. I'm like, that prayer worked. So I don't drink for a day. Like I didn't drink for that day, 17th, 18th, 19th. My body had recovered after having one meal in 2 days. Because now my appetite was back. Because one meal in 2 days, that wasn't me, especially at the beginning of this year. So yeah, after having that meal, I felt like now I can kunywa again. So I started drinking again. Then on 24th, same thing happened.
Throwing up.
Yeah, throwing up. I'm throwing up blood. I'm not even throwing up anything else. It's blood. Now I'm like, okay, that part of my liver that I think was left is actually gone. So I was like, hey, God, like, I was even embarrassed to pray. I was like, okay, now what do I tell God? Because I told him to get me out of this situation, and clearly he gave me the strength to actually make a decision not to go back to alcohol, but I got back to drinking. So, my mom called, because that time at least I had replaced my line or something. Then I was using someone's phone. That was 24th, yeah. Because I had a phone. I had a big phone, these big phones which are being sold. Because I think that was the phone that, one of my cousins bought me that phone. And
the big fat phone.
Yeah, the big fat. The big torch and antennas. Like, hii sasa hii najua huwezi poteza. Hii ukipoteza mimi najua so much easier. So I was like, okay, mbona hii simu? So that it couldn't even fit in my pocket. So everywhere I went, I just had to carry it like this. Or even carry a bag, or even hide it under my sweater, because it looks like those cop phones, like the of our walkie-talkies, man. So so I had that phone. On the last conversation I had with my mom was on 24th of that March, this year. So after that I went to drink, because my mom was like, now we need to get you help. I think Saturday, like, hey mom, that 2 weeks ago when I told you I wanted help, you guys didn't come through. Now I don't think I want the help anymore, because me right now I'm good. I even have a phone. I have a big phone. I can't even lose it. Now I'm good. I think I was at the point of insanity, because most of the things that I was saying, I wasn't actually in my right mind. I was actually insane, and I knew about it, and I didn't want. It was manifesting, and people could see it, but I couldn't. I was still in denial. I was still in denial about it, until I got to the acceptance that I need help. Like, man, I need help. So when my mom called, like, you're supposed to meet up with you and your aunt. We'll take you for detox. Then what do you want after detox? I want a smartphone. If I get a smartphone, I'll get back to my business. I'll start selling watches again. I'll get back to my social media platform. I'll make my connects with music. I'll start rapping again. I'll start making beats again. So like, okay, sawa. So can we meet on 27th in the morning? I was like, okay. That day I lost the phone again. It got stolen in one of the places that I'm drinking, because I was drinking. Me, I drink from morning till night, and not sleep
till curfew.
Yeah, past curfew. Because the place where I was drinking, there was literally no curfew.
Curfew was a suggestion.
No, it's just a curfew. Curfew was just a myth. It's something we hear outside there. Because that place was definitely not like Nairobi. It was in Nairobi, but it had its own setting, like just like another different place. And I thank God that I got out of that place, because it was just through His grace that I got out of that place. So on 27th,
you went and met them.
Yeah, I met them. Yeah, so I was told you have to go to Parklands and meet somebody, a counselor. Then we'll go for detox. You'll have your detox. Then we'll know what to do about it. You want a phone? Yeah, you'll get a phone. Then me, I'm like talking to my mom on the phone that time, because I was with my aunt at the moment. Then my mom came to Parklands, went to get some coffee at cafe. I remember I took 2 coffees, and I took one in a jiffy, like, and I had a meat pie. Then I'm wondering, like, okay, when are we meeting this counselor? Because I'm having a really bad hangover. I'm like, hey,
you need to sleep.
Yeah, we just finish up with this thing and just go back to drink. Yeah, because I'm like, no, I can't drink. These guys are wasting my time. And plus, one of the reasons I went is because I was broke. I didn't have money, I didn't have a phone, and I really needed a phone to get money, because Because when I'm sober, I actually do a lot of things, a lot of productive things, because I'm creative. I can create content, I can do a lot of things, I can make beats, I can make music, I can just do something to outsource some funds to.
They got you through.
Yeah, so I met my aunt and my mom. Then came. Then there was Diamond Plaza. Then I was okay, after coffee and the meet taken to Diamond Plaza. Then I'm being asked, what are you gonna have? I'm like, yeah, I'll have shawarma. It was a while since I had shawarma, so I was like, yeah, I'll have shawarma. So I had shawarma. Then I was being asked, like, you should take away. I'm like, take away for what? Yeah, so got the shawarma. I ate bajias. Then I carried bajias. Then the shawarma. Then sugarcane juice. I remember I just had.
You did the whole time.
Hey man, hey, because it was a good vibe. Then I was like, yo, but then if I take away, and if these guys don't give me money, I can go sell this food, and still drink. Because clearly these guys, the way they're buying food, they don't wanna give me money. But went through even the phone shop, Samsung store, the Apple store. Them like, hey, if they get me that Apple now, hey, wagwan, it's gonna be what it is. So yeah, after that, I was taken to C12. That's where I met Boniface Dirango. He had a chat with me. Then he was like, "How are you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay." Do you realize that you have a problem with alcohol? I'm like, yeah, I know. I drink because I drink more than other people. I thought that is a strength or something. It's a talent. It's like, nah, you have a problem. You have a problem. Told me some of my friends have been there, anonymities, people which have done music with too, and it was really sad because it hit me like, oh, this is why I can't see these guys in the studio anymore. This is why these guys are offline. I thought they just lost their phones like I did, lose some of my phones and everything. But then he gave me a reality talk, and I think at that point I was ready. So I got back into the car with my aunt and my mom, with my shawarma still in the car, my coffee, which I was planning to go and sell and everything. So we're driving all the way to Kabete. I'm like wondering where we're going. They're not telling me where we're going, but we're going to a care center. You're going to get detox. I'm like, oh, detox is just 4 hours, because I had detox is 4 hours. Then I'll be just let go. But then when I got there, first thing is there was somebody carrying a cat. There's a counselor carrying a cat. I was just stroking on the cat like this. Then I was like, oh my god, this is a madhouse. I actually didn't know that was a counselor at first. So when they locked the gate, they had a really big padlock. Then they just locked the gate like pop. Then I met. That's when I met my first one-on-one, Brendan. So took me to I was taken into the office. Then it was like, yo, everything that you have to surrender to the office. So I'm like, okay, okay, this is just a detox we're having.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. He's like, dude, there are two things that are gonna happen to you. You're either gonna go out there and drink and die, or you're gonna stay here and get yourself straight. Like, I've been through this. I've been 4 years sober, and trust me, if you go outside there, it's not gonna be pretty. So I was like, okay, how long is the program? And he told me the program is just 90 days. I'm like, just 90 days, 90 days. Like, 90 days is a long time, man. You're going to keep me here for 90 days. Then it's like, what are you going to do outside there? Are you going to work, or are you going to, like, I left about 69. I remember I left about 69 somewhere, because that day I was supposed to sell my camera before I got checked into rehab. I was going to sell my camera for 80,000, and which is a camera I bought for 70,000, which didn't actually make sense. But I was ready to sell it, because I'm like, I can't even use the camera. And plus, the place I'm living is not even safe. I was like, let me just sell the camera. That 80,000 is just kunywa. Because subconsciously, the devil is a liar, because I wanted to die. But it wasn't coming from me. Because God wanted me to live, but the devil wanted me to die. And it was actually winning.
Now, because of the interest of time, it's in God's time.
Yeah.
So, moving swiftly. You finished treatment.
I finished treatment. I did 100 days. I was supposed to do 90 days, but I did 100 days because I thought those 10 extra days would actually be necessary, because I needed to come into terms with everything, because I still had reservations in the back of my mind, because of, in rehab, people tell you like, yeah, me nitaenda kunywa, but me, I was sure, I don't want to drink, because after my liver functioning test, I was like, I don't want to drink, but this is just not enough. I need higher power. Like, I needed God, and I found God when I started doing the 12 steps. I realized that I cannot do this without God. So after that, I was checked into halfway house, which I was really resentful about. But by the third day, I was like in acceptance, and I thought this was the right thing. And that time, I was like already surrendering. I'm like, God, okay, this is your will. Let it be done. Let it be done. Let it be done. That's what kept me moving. And when I was checked into the halfway, at least I got my brains back and everything. I started writing again, because even in rehab, I was writing. I was reading a lot of novels. I was writing a lot. Then, yeah, I started brainstorming, and like I decided to get back to my business. So I rebranded my business and actually put it on the platforms that I wasn't using before, Instagram, Facebook, and everything. And my business is called In God's Time, where I sell watches from any type of watch, like Karen, from Rolexes to Casio, Edifices, Patek Philippe, any kind of big brand, or even any kind of middle class brand that people can afford. People of Anybody can afford those types of watches. So just people can go to my page, which is on Instagram _ in God's time _ Yeah, I want to check out my Instagram page, Kelvin _Hiuhu. That's Hiuhu, where we do delivery. We're actually working with a delivery company called Boondocks. We deliver anywhere in Nairobi at a fee less than 500. So you can just do the purchases. You order, you pick an item, order, DM me or call me and send me the picture of the item that you want, and from there we'd have it delivered to you.
So, what has been, now that you're in recovery, which is the biggest challenge that you're having in terms of business?
The biggest challenge in business is that I'd say is actually getting people to know about the product that I'm selling, because not too many people appreciate watches, and they don't understand why you'd sell a watch for 30,000 and there's another watch you're selling for 2,000. So
and there's a watch for 200.
Yeah, there's a watch for 200.
Outside
Nairobi, you'd find it hapo Luthuli mahali utapata. The difference is that the watches they sell are actually best quality. They're automatic and they're durable, and basically the watches speak for themselves, and that's why I named the business In God's Time, because that came to me in a dream, like, in God's time everything's gonna happen in God's time. And I was like, oh, we're talking about time, and these are timepieces, so yeah, it coincides with everything. So the watches are really unique and they're legit, and you can buy a watch for 200, but trust you me, that watch is not like it's probably a forgery of the other watch. So basically, I want to do things straight. So I want to work with quality, not just quantity. So yeah, if you want the best quality watches, yeah, you can holler at me, definitely.
So other than getting you through Instagram, so what's your phone number?
Yeah, my phone number is 0111 334284. That's 0111 334284. Just call, SMS, email me, or my email address is June, that's jun.haq96@gmail.com. That's jun.haq96@gmail.com. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that has been quite a story.
Yeah, thank
you.
you.
Half, which has not ended.
Yeah.
We have skipped quite a lot.
Large
pass. So I believe there'll be a part 2 later on. Maybe
definitely.
Next year, some other.
Yeah, I'm willing to share, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. And we thank God for you.
Yeah.
We thank God for him. He gave your life to Christ a few weeks ago.
Oh yes.
But that's a story for another day.
That's another day. But I actually gave my life to Christ, and I love what's been happening to me, because it's a divine intervention, and it's been transforming. Every day is just a transformation, and God just keeps confirming. And I'm thankful every day that I wake up sober, and I thank God for life, everything, and every opportunity that's been granted. Not just because I got saved, but because God loves me, and His grace is sufficient, and His mercies never end. Yeah. So just a message to any suffering addict out there, like, it's possible, because we were born not using, and you can live not using at the same time. And with the help of the higher power, your higher power, my higher power is God, you can actually come out of this because it's not a cycle that you like or you love to thrive in or just keep going back to. So yeah, it's possible. If I did it, anybody out there can. And actually, being sober is the best thing that can happen to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Amen. So that's it. That's a wrap. That was just for today. Shalom.